After the PS1 era, somebody had to take over for Naughty Dog. After all, Crash is extremely popular and Universal knew they couldn't just throw the IP away. When the PS2 era came around, Universal decided that Traveller's Tales should be the ones to induct Crash into the next generation of gaming because they were known for classics like Sonic R and Muppet Race Mania. Yeah, it doesn't sound good, does it? Anyway, enough of me rambling on. Let's take a look at Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex. You know what, let's just look at the GameCube version. Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex was released on the PlayStation 2 in 2001 and the GameCube and Xbox in 2002. Today I'll be looking at the GameCube version because it loads quicker. That's literally the only reason. The game opens with Uka Uka telling all the villains they suck at being evil. The first thing I noticed was that Uka Uka has some weird ring around him. What is this? This seems to only be on the GameCube version and it's really weird. It's like they wanted to make him bigger or something. So, Uka Uka and Cortex decide to use Cortex's secret weapon, but they need a way to power it. This is where the elementals come in. There are 4 elementals who are all kind of forgettable. They are just sort of there. No, seriously, they're right there. This has been mentioned so many times, but the characters look really bad. Cortex's head is way too big. Seriously, how does he stand up with a head that size? The rest of the characters look okay. When we finally see Crash, he looks fine. His eyes are a little weird, but apart from that, he looks okay. Coco looks really weird, and Aku Aku just looks weird. I'm not sure what it is, but he just looks off. We then learn that the warp room is inside a computer. If the warp room is inside a computer, then how do the crystals they collect actually mean anything? How do they stop the elemental masks when they're inside a computer? I don't get it. So we finally start playing the game. Oh wait. Another cutscene where we are introduced to Cortex's secret weapon, Crunch. At this point the intro has been going on long enough, so let's play the game already. The warp room is very similar to the warp room in Crash 3. In the warp room there are 5 areas like in Crash 3. There is also a secret warp room, again like Crash 3. One thing that's awesome about this warp room is the music. Anyway, let's play the first level already. You may have noticed that the game looks a little bit off. That's because the GameCube version can't seem to keep a consistent frame rate. Some levels are better than others, but it can get really bad. The first level is pretty good. It looks and feels like Crash. Crash has all his basic moves. He can jump, spin and slide. All things you would expect from a Crash game. You break boxes, collect Wumpa Fruit, grab the crystal and gem, and then go back to the warp room. Pretty standard stuff. Just like Crash 3, you also get power-ups from beating the bosses. You can get the ability to walk on nitros, which is useless, a double jump, a more powerful spin, a rocket launcher, and the ability to run. Seems awfully familiar. One thing that I find weird is that there is a death route in the first level. This just seems wrong to me. The death routes in Crash 2 and 3 were introduced around halfway through the game and made a challenging level even harder. A death route in the first level is just stupid. There's barely any challenge in the first level, so why is there a death route? The death route is just a bunch of nitro crates and enemies anyway. It isn't very hard. The death routes in this game overall aren't very hard. Seriously, look at this one, you can just crawl under most of it. In the next level we fly a plane. What the hell is that sound? It hurts my ears! Seriously, it's so loud and obnoxious. How didn't anyone realize this when testing the game? This isn't the only level that has a weird noise throughout. Anyway, the level itself is okay. The plane is kind of slow and the enemies are a little bit annoying, but apart from that, it's okay I guess. The third level starts with Crash in a ball. I think I'm beginning to see why people dislike this game. The ball controls weirdly. It goes really fast, but the level wants you to go slowly. It just doesn't work. After this, we finally get to play a level purely as Crash, and again, there's a death route. Why? This is the 4th level in the game. The first few levels have been so easy, but they just keep throwing in death routes. It's dumb and doesn't feel too difficult to the first death route. A bunch of nitros and a few other hazards, but nothing difficult. The boss in the first warp room is awful. You are put in the ball again and have to fight Crunch by turning all the balls blue. As I mentioned earlier, the ball sucks. The boss is completely luck based and Crunch always seems to ram into you, which does tons of damage. Also, whenever you deal damage to Crunch, you always seem to roll right into him and get damaged. How did they think this was okay? The rest of the bosses are okay. The second boss is a little bit repetitive, just dodge Crunch's attacks and spin into him. The third boss sucks though. It is so easy to mess up, and if you do, you get sent right back to the beginning. The boss also has no real pattern. You can never tell where Crunch is going to throw the rocks or when he's going to poop them. However, the fourth boss is awesome. You control Crash in a plane and shoot Crunch who has turned into a genie thing. It's pretty cool. The game throws so many vehicles at you. One level has you control Crash in a Jeep, and it sucks. This is one of the worst controlling vehicles in the game. In level 6, the Jeep is inverted for some strange reason, and you have to fight the controls to get Crash to the end of the level. The Jeep isn't as bad in a later level where you race with it, as the level wants you to go fast. This level wants you to go slowly, and it does not work. Wrath of Cortex also lets you play as Coco. Coco is just Crash but weaker. She controls fine, and I don't hate the levels where you play as her. Her levels are short and fun to play. I also like how you can see the bonus round in the distance in this level. Now that's cool. The main issue with this game is that every level seems to throw some kind of gimmick at you. Now this wouldn't be too bad if most of the gameplay styles didn't suck. In my Twinsanity review, I mentioned how all of the gameplay styles are fun to play and help make the game less repetitive. This game fails to do that. Whenever I replay this game, there are so many levels that I do not look forward to. The ball, the Jeep, and the submarine. Oh my god, the submarine. The submarine really is something special. Traveller's Tales made a vehicle that controls awfully and is extremely slow, and then decided that the submarine levels should require quick reflexes and movements. Most of the time you can't even see what's coming in these levels, and to make things worse, you can't seem to avoid them in time due to the slow and awful controls. The biggest issue with this game is the lack of focus. Traveller's Tales was so obsessed with adding so many gameplay styles that they didn't take time to refine them, with the exception of Crash. The lack of focus hurts the game so much. If Traveller's Tales had put less vehicles in and more traditional platforming, the game would not be so badly hated. I feel like I've gone on too long about the negatives of this game, so let's talk about the positives. Firstly, the music. The music in this game is really good, except I can't hear it. Anyway, the music is good. Not too many of the tracks stand out, but the ones that do are really memorable. Another thing that I like about this game is the Crash levels. The levels where you play as just Crash are great. They control well and are pretty memorable, but the monkey bars can be an absolute pain. Remember the fast monkey bars in the older Crash games? Yeah? Well, Traveller's Tales don't like speed apparently. Despite this, relics make a return. In my opinion, the relics in Crash 3 were fun. It was really enjoyable to run through a level as quickly as possible and look cool whilst doing it. This game, however, well, the relics kind of suck. The issue with the relics in this game is that the levels are meant to be played through slowly. You could argue that that was the case with Crash 3, but I personally disagree. This game expects you to beat the time trials quickly, but throws monkey bars and this thing at you. After you make your way through the 25 levels and collect all the crystals, you get to fight Crunch and Cortex one last time. In the final boss, you dodge the elemental's attacks and shoot Crunch. This gets him angry, which causes him to knock down Cortex so you can spin into him. Do this 4 times and you've beaten the game. Only you haven't, because now you have to get 106%. Or just enter Wombat as your save file name on the main menu and instantly get 100%. I do that personally. It was weird to return to this game. I remembered enjoying it immensely as a kid and I wanted to be one of the people who liked it. However, as I played it, it just got worse and worse. Some parts of the game really are great, like the soundtrack and the Crash levels, but the bad really outshines the good. For every good level, you get 4 or 5 bad ones. Nobody should have to play through tons of bad levels just to get to the few good ones. Overall, I could only recommend this game to really hardcore Crash fans, and even then, I still don't think they would enjoy it very much. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe and follow me on Twitter. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.